is there of both of these players getting traded?
I think it's a 99.9% Skip. I don't want to say 100 because, hell, even Clorox wipes only say 99.9. And there have been some other things that says it's 98.5% effective. But I believe this is as close to 100% as you can possibly get. I believe in this situation, Skip, I believe ownership, Joe Tsai, says I want my organization back. I've ceded power to the two stars here. It's one's a superstar. I don't believe Kyrie is a superstar yet. But, hey, that's neither here nor there. I believe he says I want control of this organization back. And I've ceded too much power to these players. Who we bring in, who we let go, who we let do this, and who we let do that. I believe Kevin Durant, because Kevin Durant went to them and requested a trade, I believe they're going to acquiesce and give him what they want. I believe because Kyrie's behavior within the organization, I believe they want to get him out of there. And I was just listening. Today I was eating breakfast, and Nick Friedel, I think that's his name, and he said he polled a lot of he's like, Kyrie is sensational. They say, but you can't trust him. I don't know what I'm going to get is he going to come, is he going to do this, and how he's going to behave once he gets there. So that's what's working in Kyrie's case. But in this situation, Skip, I believe both players will get traded. I'm as close to 100% as both players not being on the Nets. And I know how you feel about this, Skip. You've made it abundantly clear. You tweeted. And Kevin Durant brother said, hell nah, that's not even a possibility. Get that thought out your head. We want out. KD didn't say that, but someone from KD's inner circle said that. And KD could have easily said, that's not how I feel. A lot of times, Skip, when someone says something and your inner circle says something, well, that's his opinion, yada, yada, yada. Kevin Durant could have squashed all this and says, nah, that's not how I feel. But because Kevin Durant requested a trade, and Sean Marks, and I think Woj reported that Sean Marks is working with Kevin Durant's Rich Kleiman, his business partner, to facilitate a trade, well, that's all but out because we've never seen Kevin Durant behave in this manner. Normally when Kevin Durant is left, his obligation has been fulfilled to that organization. His contract was up. He had an option. He could have opted in. He opted out, left Golden State. He was a free agent. He left OKC. But with 4 years left, he'd say, you know what, guys? I've run my course here. I've done all I care to do here. I want to move on. They're getting Kyrie up out of there. I believe they want Kyrie. Skip, and the thing was, if KD were to go to them and says, guys, look, Kyrie, this situation with Kyrie didn't work. Y'all can move him. Let's see what we can get. I'm willing to stay. They would grant Kevin Durant that. But Kevin Durant doesn't want to be there. I don't know what transpired over the last 3 years to get him to get to this point, Skip, because all indications that everything was great between the front office and Kevin Durant. So how did we get from great to get to here is unbeknownst to us. We may never know. Maybe there's a documentary, or maybe KD is doing a documentary because it seems everybody's doing these documentaries. I'm definitely watching the Derek Jeter 7-part series because that's going to be really, really good.
I agree.
I think, Skip, everybody at some point in time, all these big-time guys are going to have a Last Dance type documentary because I see a lot of camera crews following everybody around and they're compiling footage. But in this situation, Skip, I'm as close to 100% that Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving will not be playing for the Brooklyn Nets this year as you can possibly get without saying 100.
Okay, I'm going to go back to your premise that Joe Tsai would like to re-seize control of his organization.
Mm-hmm.
He would like to quit ceding control to his players.
I think most owners would like to do that.
I agree. I think that's a league-wide sort of unwritten goal right now. Because of that, I'm going to make the percentage that both of these superstars get traded, I'm going to make it a grand total of 5% because I do not think it's going to happen.
You believe they're going to hold on to him?
I believe just for the very reasons you just detailed, he will take back control by saying, Kevin, I'm sorry, you're here. Whether you like it or not, and you're going to have to like it or lump it,
my goodness.
You are here. Even you have said that you doubt that Kevin Durant, this late in his career, could imagine having to sit out a whole year or lose this kind of salary that he would lose. Not that he hasn't made and kept a whole lot of his money. But I don't think he wants to do that at this stage and this age. I don't think Kyrie wants to do that at this stage and age. And I do believe that this whole issue comes down to the fact that KD and Kyrie effectively broke up as besties. And I believe it happened, and nobody seems to be acknowledging this, but it seemed extremely like crushingly significant to me back at that point earlier in the season when the whole organization sort of voted in mass to send Kyrie home.
Yeah.
If you can't play on the road, just stay home.
Yeah, they didn't want I think they said something about a part-time player.
Yeah, we don't want you. Well, it looked like Kevin blessed that because Kevin was miffed, if not furious, at Kyrie.
Yeah.
And it looked like once that he stepped back across the line in favor of management and team, that he would no longer back Kyrie's vaccination stance or non-vaccination stance. It looked like to me that Kyrie and KD parted ways.
Right.
It looked like they became do not invite-ems, and I got no sense of any closeness between the two going into the playoff games. Their body language wasn't bestie body language from that point forward.
Right.
So I believe that the Nets are sitting back saying, we've got nothing but time now. We don't have to do this. We can go all the way up to the start of the season. We can push this thing. We can slow play it until Kevin finally says, okay, I give up. Because to use your word, he is mercurial. He might be the most mercurial I've ever closely observed. I've also called him the thinnest skinned superstar I've ever observed. This is a guy who's had his own burner accounts on Twitter.
Right.
This is a guy who I believe used his brother as the messenger to get back at me last Friday because he says he's gone dark on social media and he doesn't want to get his hands dirty on social media anymore. So he let his brother be the bearer of bad news to me. Okay?
Skip, even though he hasn't spoken, we understand that Rich Kleiman is his mouthpiece. The mere fact that we didn't hear you say, I want to trade, they're exploring that. That had to be brought by somebody. The agent works at the behest of the player. So even though we didn't hear that from Kevin Durant, we're all to assume, we're intelligent enough to assume Kevin Durant wanted this trade. Now, I don't, Skip, sometimes you like sit back and like, okay, I need y'all to do that. I'm not going to get my hands dirty. Hey, that's just them. I mean, the team's going to do what's in bed. No, bro. You requested this. Just own up to it at some point in time. I'm sure he'll tell us why he wanted to move on. Maybe he will, maybe he won't, Skip. But we know Kevin Durant does not want to play for the Brooklyn Nets anymore. He does not want to be there.
What's the oldest cliche? Time heals all wounds.
Yeah.
I just believe that if they'll wait this out, that mercurial Kevin will go from get me the hell out of here to, okay, I'm cool. And I believe that Kyrie will also return to his senses and realize, as he did or didn't with LeBron, he now does, that, hey, I got a pretty great thing here with Kevin Durant.
The man said the earth is flat.
Okay, so, and yet we saw a poll last night, and I think you saw it too, of ranking the dynamic duos, and I think Kevin and Kyrie were fourth on the list. And I'm looking at like, hey, they're number one. but they gotta want to be number one, right? They gotta want to play. They gotta want to play together.
Right.
Just, I remind everybody, just going into this past basketball season, they were prohibitive favorites to win the championship. They had James Harden. It has now been replaced by Ben Simmons. Is Ben ever going to get right? I don't know. But if he does, they will be next year's betting favorite.
Right.
If they can somehow keep this together and Ben Simmons shows, even in a preseason game, that he's starting to look like Ben Simmons again, they will be the betting favorite. I promise you, and Joe Tsai knows that, Sean Marks, Steve Nash, they know that. It's why they have Kevin under a 4-year deal right now. And to his credit, when he, to your point of view, he ran and ran. Well, he ran from Russell Westbrook because he could, because he was free. And he ran from Steph Curry because he was free, right?
Yes.
So he did it a la LeBron. He did it the right way both times. Well, this is the absolute wrong way. And I think Kevin actually has so much basketball character that he knows in his heart of hearts this is the wrong way. And I think this fence can be mended between him and Kyrie with time. Just with time, it will heal it.
Yeah, like 3 years after they're separated from each. Because, Skip, you said it can be mended with time. It took time for Kyrie and LeBron to mend. But what did they have to do? They had to separate. They were apart. And then you realize that as a part, you're like, well, damn, We were much better together. I'm sure there were times that McCartney and Lennon, Skip, they were sitting down like, man, we messed up a really great thing. We were great, but this thing could have went a lot longer than what it did.
Yeah, I never got the sense either one of those guys believed that, but it's because they were so great and they accomplished so much together.
Yeah, but that's what
I don't think they felt like they left anything on the table.
But let me ask you a question. They never captured apart what they did together.
Heck no, well, how can you?
That's why you keep it going.
Okay,
You keep it going.
I know, but you want to go try. You can't begrudge a man the opportunity to say, I think I can be better solo, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so Kyrie got that opportunity. He seized the day and he went to Boston and he failed. And then he tried to go to Brooklyn and be the leader and the GM and the coach, and it's failing right before his very eyes, right?
Yeah. That's why you look at a guy like Magic Johnson, and he can say, I want my own team, or Kareem, but they stayed together and they won 5.
Okay.
And you look at Scottie Pippen. I mean, yeah, I'm sure there are times, and we've seen it in his book and we've seen through some of the media interviews, that he's seething because he never got the credit that, not that he deserved.
But he did get, it was a later career opportunity, but he got to go to Houston with Barkley and who else was Olajuwon still there?
Yeah.
And it didn't work. And then he went to Portland and they were okay, but it never really worked.
But Skip, I'm talking about like in his prime where I'm like, I could be a Batman. I'm tired of all this Robin stuff. I want my own car.
Yeah.
You know, Robin always rode sidekicks, either the little car, Batman on the motorcycle, either the little car. He was never driving.
He was never driving. Okay, so Sports Illustrated's Chris Mannix, who does a great job, is quoted as saying, there's not a huge appetite in LA at this point for Kyrie Irving to take on all that money they're going to have to take on to be much deeper in the luxury tax team hole and to fork over a first-round pick in return.
Right.
So his point is, as long as that's the asking price, the Lakers are not going to get their hands on Kyrie Irving. Well, I agree. It's insane to take back Russell Westbrook for Kyrie. It's just as insane even if they throw in the first-round pick, because where does it get you? You're just going to lose Kyrie. You could have him and Durant for 1 year. If they can somehow get him in the room and hug it out and make it work for 1 year, they could go win the championship. It wouldn't surprise me one bit. So why would the Nets do this? There's no market for Kyrie outside of the Lakers.
Right.
Right now, it looks like there's really not much market for Kevin Durant, especially at the top of his list from Phoenix and Miami.
Well, they just don't have, I mean, really, they don't have anything to give. I mean, no comparable assets.
No.
Give me something that I can work with. I mean, I'm giving you Kevin Durant, who is still a top 5 player, arguably has an opportunity to go down as a top 10 player. Give me something in return. And Mikal Bridges, and I get it, I like Mikal Bridges. But Skip, Mikal Bridges and a first-round draft pick of DeAndre Ayton ain't going to cut it. Hell, Mikal Bridges, Miles Bridges held the London Bridge. It's still not a comparable trade for Kevin Durant. That's Kevin Durant. The man averages 27, 5, and 6 for a career.
Which is exactly what Josiah is saying as we speak. I'm not going to give him away. I'm not going to give Kyrie away. Why,
well, you might not have no choice.
Says who?
KD.
I think Josiah's saying, I got a choice. I'm going to seize back control of my organization, just like Shannon Sharpe said I want to.
Well, you might have to get him up out of there to seize control.
Well, that's unseizing control. You're going to seize control of nothing.
Yeah, get him up out of there. We're going to start afresh. The team is bigger than... Did he tweet something? The team is bigger than one individual?
Yes, that is correct. If you have a team, what if you don't have a team?
Well, we thought that was a shot at Kyrie. Little did we know a few days later, KD was going to be requesting a trade. That might have been a shot at...
Okay, but he didn't say the team is bigger than any 2 players, because there's no team that's bigger than those 2 players.
No.
Right?
I don't see how they bring them back.
But you're at 100% because it is wishful thinking.
No.
You're just thinking Lakers, and more Lakers.
Nah, I'll be willing to I'll take Buddy. I'll tell you what, we're going to trade Buddy Hield. We'll trade for Buddy Hield and Miles Turner. We'll give them Russ. End it.
And help me out again. Indiana would do that. Why?
Well, they just gave up. They just gave up Malcolm Brogdon for spare parts. So we figured we'd give you some more spare parts.
Okay, you'll give him the sparest part there is. A guy we're going to talk about in a few minutes who's now ranked in the bottom tier of NBA players.
Well, what
Congratulations.
I mean, look at what the Boston Celtics gave them to get Brogdon.
Yeah.
You make it seem like they gave up Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum or some Robert Williams. They didn't.
They got draft picks. Well, they did. They got good draft picks. They just didn't get anything else.
Exactly.
Okay, but I don't think Indiana's in business to return the Lakers to the living.
Well, they try to turn the Celtics to the living by giving them Malcolm Brogdon, the one thing that they need, a point guard.
Well, okay, good luck with this.
You're just trying to hold us down.
Yeah. Well, certainly, guys, the NBA world is all waiting to see with bated breath what happens to these two players. There will be a ton of fallout once that's decided.
Thank you for watching. You can subscribe here to get the latest from the show, and be sure to check out more of the best clips from Undisputed, or go watch a few other segments from our other shows on FS1.